I realized that my body isn't broken. It's just exhausted. Microphone check. Does my mic sound nice? Yes, it does. Welcome to this week's episode of It's About Damn Time. We focus on the real journey to being 1% better every damn day. Welcome to this week's episode of It's About Damn Time. I am Jared Dam, back in the building again. And if you're new here, as I adjust my shirt 47 times, if you're new here, I got you. It's About Damn Time is a podcast about self-discovery. It's my journey. I'm on the road to building a better me, and hopefully through conversations and revelations, you too are going to build a better you because we are in this together. Now, this week was a whirlwind for me because I started left and ended right. I went 180 degrees and another 360. I was just on TikTok, minding my business. I kept seeing a lot of these ads about strengthening your pelvic floor and what it could do for you. So I went down a rabbit hole doing research about pelvic floors and how it can help with, stronger erections and, help with, intense orgasms and everything. I'm like, okay, I ain't had a grown episode in a while. I got some experts I can talk to about this. I can share my own experiences. I can sit there and talk about beetroot and maca powder. I'm like, this is going to be good. So I start putting information in my chat GPT, if you will. And he was like, that's one way to look at it. And as we kind of kept talking, I went down a different direction where it wasn't talking about supplements to help with blood circulation. And we wasn't talking about pelvic floor exercises to help with the muscle tension and everything else. We started talking about my mind and my body and letting go. And we started asking me questions about how long, do you think you would have experienced issues? And we'll get into the issues and everything, because I think that'll be a great episode. But I started talking about, times where it's been rough to relax, whether I was, doing sex or whether I was having some of my solo ventures, you know what I mean? And I struggled 3 years ago. And I mentioned it on Parents After Midnight, which is available on all podcasting platforms. What up, Amari? But I struggled with that. And I mentioned it on that podcast, and eventually, stuff worked out as far as the solo ventures, but as far as the team activities, sometimes, the Mount Vesuvius erupts, but most times you don't. And so me thinking, okay, it's like a pelvic floor thing, and when I looked at it, ooh, you know what? This ain't a sex episode. This is a life episode. This is a life episode that happens to show up in sex. And then them challenge me to look at other facets of my life on where this shows up at. And I quickly realized this ain't about male enhancement or muscles or sexual pleasure. Not this time around. This is for the people who carry the weight of everybody else, but don't quite know how to carry the weight for themselves. And that weight sits on your chest. It sits on your, I can't even point to my chest. It sits on my shoulders. It sits on my chest. It's right there in my stomach. Let's just start looking at the patterns of that. I have been a fixer my whole damn life. No bullshit. Like I was 12 years old worried about my mom paying bills and listening to her when she struggled with things, and I was the reasonable person for my friends, and then you became a father, and then then you get in your 30s and 40s, and then you're the responsible coworker. And I have always been the strong one. I've always been the dependable one. Voted most dependable by my high school class. To this day, it's a title that they still recognize. I've been out of high school a long ass time. I've always been the emotionally available one. But I can't relax because I've always worried about being the guy for everybody. The only chance I have to halfway relax if I'm here alone. And I wouldn't even really call that relaxing or resting. It's just more like a pause. Like I'm literally just pause. I'm literally like hitting pause and walk away. You know how you do like with Netflix? You just hit pause and walk away for a little while and then you come back to it. I'm literally doing that. There is no rest. There is no reset. So it just got me to thinking, how did I get here? Like I said, I've been doing it. I've been doing it for so long. Even when I was younger, I kept tension in my shoulders. Like my shoulders tensed up. But I've always dealt with the stress. But it's one thing that I say all the time to a friend is that who swears, she swears. I know you listening. She swears that she ain't stressed. Well, she used to. She sees it. She sees the light now. But she swears that she ain't stressed. And I'm like, but you've always dealt with this same shit. Your body just conditioned to deal with it. So you've been dealing with stress. And so I've been dealing with stress, but I didn't recognize that stress until about early 2022. Again, while we're recording for Parents After Midnight, I started talking about my body in that regard sexually. But the signs were there. I didn't sleep at night. Either I binged food like it was nobody's business or I didn't eat at all. And there was a slew of other symptoms. Like, let me tell you something. When you are a person that is so stressed that you can't take a proper shit, that's a lot of stress that you're dealing with in your body. I ain't the only one. My mom is a nervous pooer too. But I even start realizing that no matter how much fiber I'm taking in, or probiotics, or I'm eating a slew of fruits and vegetables, if I don't soak in some Epsom salt or rub some magnesium cream and or take a Xanax to like relax my body, a proper one won't come out. That's stress that you're constantly holding on to. And so when I look back at it, looking at the sex part, when I first started understanding that this is what I've been dealing with all this time, I started peeling back the layers of the onion. Shout out to the Vex Intellects. I started doing that. I don't focus on my pleasure at all. I mean, sure, I'm a pleasure dom, and we'll get more into that when I have Safia on. But I'd rather just focus on them, and I don't care about any type of enjoyment because I treat it like not like an exchange and a flow exchange of energy or just flowing or just being effortlessly tied to somebody. I treat it like a production. And I've treated it like a production for a long time. I've always called it WrestleMania. I have to put on a 5-star HBK match. Mr. WrestleMania, baby. Win, lose, or draw. You're going to be like, I was there. I saw that match. It's crazy, though. Just noticing that it went, noticing it for sex from the get-go, but looking outside of everything else on how it affects my sleep. It affects the way I poo. It affects me just being still. I come home from work to relax, and I can't relax. I'm thinking about what else do I need to do next. I'm literally sitting here right now. If I'm really paying attention to my body, I am fucking tense as fuck. My shoulders are here. I'm shaking. My breath is labored. This feels tense as fuck. I can't rest. I can't let go. When I talk to people, I tell them that I always feel like I gotta be on. And whether it's a friend or a romantic interest or a cousin, these individuals always say the same thing, and they always say, well, I want you to be comfortable around me. But the truth is, I can't. I can't be comfortable around you because I'm not comfortable around me. Well, I'll just be in the other room so you don't have to feel like you have to put on a performance. If you are in my vicinity, I feel like I have to be on just in case. There's no exceptions to this rule. Brooklyn comes for the summer. My ex-wife can attest to this. I would be so nervous, be so excited, but I'd be so nervous about Brooklyn coming for the summer. Because I knew I felt like I had to be on. And even though she might be in her room, she might be asleep, I was just sitting there I had a wife and I felt like I had to be on. I could be at my mom's house in the room that I grew up in. Well, it's not really the room anymore. The room I grew up in actually is my mom's closet now, but that's besides the point. I could be in the familiar place where I grew up. And I still feel like I have to be on. I don't feel like I can actually rest. So when people ask me, what do you want to do? And what do you want to eat? And what do you want to do for your birthday? I don't know. I don't know because I can't release enough. It's wild when you don't feel safe enough to rest. And you don't feel safe enough to release. You don't feel safe enough. And I like to come on here and be like, here's some examples for you. Here's some. here's some truths and here's how we make it better. But honestly, y'all, I don't know. This episode like blindsided me, but it's something I've wanted to talk about for a while if I really think about it. How is it when you're that person in everyone's life, your family calls you because you are the steady one and you give the advice. Your kids know you're the steady one and they'll call you and be like, "Hey, I need a new job." And since you're the master researcher, your mom, that lady thinks that you know the answer to everything, from how does yeast activate to write me a living trust. Mom, I didn't go to law school. Your aunt asked you about all the supplements and how the body works. They call me Dr. Jared. I am nowhere close to being. Yeah, I barely got my bachelor's. 5 years and 3 years of summer school because I wasn't doing shit. But that pressure of being the funny one, the smart one, the open-minded one, the strategizer, the creative one, the idea guy, the diffuser of conflicts, the mediator, the negotiator. It leaves you tired. Mm. Like I said, I don't really have the answers. Don't know exactly how to turn the corner. But I will say this, I want to know what relaxation feels like. I want to know how letting go feels. Without dying. cancel the dying one. I just want to know how to just be in a space and be relaxed. It's about damn time that you learn to let go. You might not know what that feels like, but you gotta have the strength to fight for yourself. Be there for yourself like you're there for everybody else. I'm still gonna do that episode about the pelvic floor. I think that's some good shit. Maybe I'll record it next week. Who knows? I don't know when, but I'm still gonna get there. But I gotta figure out the stress. So I don't have a traditional damn challenge because again, I ain't got the answers to this one. You see, I took the glasses off, so I ain't even read nothing. So here's what I got for us, because I've definitely got to do this. If that body feels tense, and wherever you keep it at, I keep it in my shoulders and underneath my stomach. I know people that keep it in their lower back, um, their legs, their feet, their ankles, wherever you keep it. Do 3 things this week for you to relax. And it's going to be hard too. If you're one of those people that's like me that does not relax well, for example, one of my things, I'll tell you right up, one of my things is going to be soak in the Epsom salt bath. Now, I feel like because my magnesium levels are so low, drink a lot of caffeine, have a lot of sugar, which depletes my levels, that I probably should be sitting in the bath at least, 3 times a week, Epsom salt bath. But the thing about me sitting in that bathtub is that I have to be there. In order for me to distract myself from being there, I might have to watch TikToks or something else like that. And that's not necessarily relaxing you. Ideally, I would want to sit there and light candles, sit there for 20 minutes in that warm, actually that hot water and that Epsom salt, soak, play like some frequencies and do some deep breathing. And I've done that a few times. And I'm going to tell you straight up, I can't do that every time. So I won't sit there and I'm going to distract myself with a podcast or a show. And I'm going to call that an absolute fucking win. And when I do that consistently enough, then I can add some other shit. Don't try to hit a home run like me. Just whatever you need to do. If it's going to bed at 9:00, even if you don't fall asleep at 9:00, you might not fall asleep to 12:30, but you went to bed at 9:00. That's an absolute fucking win. And we are into absolute fucking wins here. It's about damn time. Not a home run, not a grand slam, not, I made this Sports Center highlight. An absolute fucking win. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So that's your damn talent this week. I'm going to do that shit. I might sign off right now and go soak. The shoulders are shouldering. Thank you for taking a wild ride with me. Look, not the episode I thought it was going to be. Not by a long shot. You want to continue to have conversations about this? You want to continue to figure out how to let things go? That's why social media is here. I'm available. I'm here. It's About Damn Time Pod. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, TikTok. Black Sky. No, Blue Sky. Sorry. I don't know what Black Sky is. Blue Sky. Where Black Sky was the thing in Daredevil. Never mind. Blue Sky. I'm there. I'm in all these things. Let's continue the conversation. If this resonates with you, if you feel like this, but you've never really expressed it, and maybe this is a good place for people to listen to get where you're coming from, share this episode. If you know somebody who is the person, you know they be carrying on everybody's shit, and they don't know how to let go. Slide this episode to them, direct them to this episode. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Until next time, I'll see you next week. Thank you for joining me this week on It's About Damn Time. Hey, if you like what you heard, follow this podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and IG, and join the conversation on this week's episode. Link to all my socials in the show notes. You can also show love by simply giving me a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. And of course, for more blogs, pods, and other digital content, go to thewholedamnshow.com. Until next time, I'll see you next week.